Welcome to the Wordsmith Forge Christian Fiction Podcast. I'm your host, Mike Baines. In today's episode, I'm joined by author Andrew B. Sampsel. Andrew shares his faith journey, the story behind his Castle Reef series, and how family, creativity, and God's leading has shaped his life and writing. Let's dive in. We're so glad you could join us on the Wordsmith Forge Christian Fiction Podcast. Would you mind introducing yourself?
Yes, I'm Drew Sampsel. My author name is Andrew B. Sampsel. My wife thought that sounded really professional, so she wanted me to put that on my books, but I've always been known as Drew.
Wives are usually right.
Yeah, yes.
Let me sneak that in there.
Presently I live in Oklahoma, near Tahlequah. Actually, I live outside of Tahlequah in a small little community called Keys, near Lake Tenkiller, and we've been here for almost 24 years, and we've been in full-time ministry probably about 32 years, something like that. So, we've been here and been all over the United States, kind of moving around, but I am a creative pastor, technical director at our church. I used to be a youth pastor, just kind of been in the ministry that way, and so it's good to be here with you.
We're sure glad you had the time to fit us in. We appreciate that. So I do like to just kind of find out where all you've moved, because we did cheat a little and we talked a little bit before we pressed the record button. You indicated that you'd lived in Indiana, and I think I shared with you that my wife and I are Hoosiers from birth, but you lived up around the Kokomo area?
Yes, sir. I was born and raised in Ohio. I'm a Buckeye. I won't
hold that against you.
I was going to wear a Buckeye shirt, but I didn't want to repel people. But I lived there a good portion of my childhood, and then moved to New Jersey, and then went to school in New Jersey, high school, and some college, and then moved. Actually, this is just me personally. Then moved to West Virginia.
No.
Then moved back to New Jersey, and went to school there, Rutgers University. Mm-hmm. That's where I met my wife. We were into acting. She was into musical theater. I was into acting, Bachelor of Fine Arts at Mason Gross School of the Arts. And we both left there. I do not have a college degree. I went a lot of schooling, but we left there. And then we moved to the Outer Banks in North Carolina.
Oh. Mm-hmm.
And then we moved back to New Jersey. Then I went to Bible school out in Tulsa at Church on the Move, Willie George Ministries. They had a really good program there at the time. Went there, then moved to Indiana as a youth pastor. And we were in Indiana for 7.5 years. And then we moved from Indiana back to Oklahoma, and that's where we've been since. So, yeah, kind of.
You've been around.
Yeah.
I have to ask you, whereabouts in West Virginia did you live?
Philippi.
Oh, yeah.
It's near Elkins College. I went to Alderson Broaddus College.
Yeah. For
communications, and played soccer there. That's kind of my sport. So, yeah, but, I never was like the big soccer player. I told my wife that I was really good, but, she believed it. So,
yeah, that's all that matters. Yeah. Well, that's just so interesting because, we've both spent time in Indiana. We've both spent time in Oklahoma. When I was in the military, I was at Fort Sill down at Lawton. And we both spent time in West Virginia. I worked for the Monongahela National Forest in Elkins.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, we've been been a lot of the same places. That's interesting. And so a question I really like to ask my guest, and these are not serious questions. I don't want you to think about them a lot, just whatever pops into your head. Sure. What are 3 of your favorite songs?
3 of my favorite songs. Okay. That depends on...
That's why I don't want you to think about it. Okay.
That depends on how the wind...
I'm in the ministry. They've got to be spiritual. Well, but
I know, but actually, my wife and I kind of differ on this. She's like, we are totally different. I love praise and worship, and you know, I'm all about that. And if I had to take all music away, and that's really
right
where I'd land. But behind me, you see some CDs, but like around me, I can move I'm in my man cave. I got a lot of vinyl. It's kind of a little hobby I have. I just like classic rock, but Christian rock, a lot of that, Christian, contemporary Christian music, but a lot of it's in a certain era, you know, the late 60s, 70s, 80s, mid 80s. After that, I think music, to me personally, kind of took a turn. It was like became more commercialized, more pop and things like that. But like right now, I'll move this regardless. I'll show you. Up on my little wall, I kind of put a little playlist of stuff. And right now, it's got the Moody Blues up there.
One of my top favorites.
Yeah, and my wife cannot stand the groups that I like. It's because of the music. And some of this, you know, I don't go for a lot of I kind of filter it through, you know, the sexual, drug-induced, all that. I kind of just weed that out. I do have some bands that were probably into that, but later they kind of got on the right track, so I kind of kept them, but I kind of weed through that. But like I have Phil Kagi, really like him, got to meet him. Randy Stonehill, Barry McGuire, and I'm like kind of all over the map because like I really like the group Yes, and my wife cannot stand them, but musically, that progressive sound I really like. Actually, with my writing, I'm looking over here on the wall. I got a whole wall of CDs of Vangelis. He's instrumental. He's done a lot of stuff. You know, Chariots of Fire, that's what he's known for. But I like to write to that, actually. I got to have music on. It kind of sets a mood of what I'm doing. So the 3 favorite songs right now would be probably... what's over there. I just can't tell you because I would start thinking about it, but well,
see, the discussion about your 3 favorite songs are more telling than your 3 favorite songs.
Okay.
So it's kind of a trick question. I really didn't ask you what your 3 favorite songs were. I asked you, what kind of a process would you have to go through to tell me your 3 favorite songs, which is more interesting?
I could really go a long time. And my wife, she's like, how do you think of this? Like, I will, when there's a song on or something, you know, whether it's instrumentally or lyrically, I'll just know it. And we talked about West Virginia in school and communications. My first college I went to, my brother went there on a soccer scholarship, and I didn't know what I wanted to do, so I just kind of followed him.
Yeah.
And I worked as a DJ and got my restricted radio's operator's permit to do that, you know, and I'm kind of grandfathered in. If I ever wanted to do that, I guess I could, but I just loved that. And it was like I would tell the listeners what was coming on and the history of all that. I guess it's just ingrained in you. So it's kind of like, you know, I don't know, it's a hobby, it's fun, but, you know, if I had to get rid of it, I could do it. It's not like it's, you know, my life. Yeah. So.
Well, we had fun with that. So how about your 3 favorite movies?
3 favorite? Okay, here we go again. All So this is kind of in the writing realm too. It's like I never aspired to be a writer, so I love film and movies too. And just kind of a little background there. When I was writing these 3 books that I had written, I'm writing them thinking about a movie. I'm not writing them like, oh, I want to write a book. So ultimately, I'm not finished yet. I want to see these 3 books become movies, Lord willing.
Sure.
My son is actually a filmmaker. He's in California, in the Ladera Ranch area, and he's finishing up a documentary for a Lutheran organization. And what they're doing this documentary on is how a lot of people, what's the term? It's deprogrammed, or what do they call it? I can't think of the term right now, but it's like society, a lot of people have given up their faith, and why they're trying different things. These are Christians,
Yeah.
And he traveled to Europe, traveled around the United States, did interviews with seasoned veteran Christian authors and people to bring back that message of Christ, bring back people to the Bible. And, and it's really, really unique. And it's taken a little longer than he's expected. He's working with this organization. So I'm saying that to say he got inspired with film from me showing him movies. And I was real selective when he was little. I didn't want to show him stuff. And I do not watch trash. If we kind of go through the Plugged In online, Focus on the Family website. It's really good. You see what a movie is, and they give you the breakdown of language, immorality, things like that. And everyone's going, "Oh, that's a great movie. I'll use that as a filter." And I was like, "Nope, sorry, I'm not going to do it." But I've watched some movies that had some content in it, like Schindler's List.
Yeah.
I think there's language and nudity in there, but it's in context of like reality. And you can kind of use that as a scapegoat if you want. It's like, oh, it's the real thing. But I never showed those movies to my son or my daughter. Growing up, we were, stuck with cartoons and family, Focus on the Family stuff, and just real basic stuff. But as he got older, M. Night Shyamalan movies, like, Signs, and he was just like, oh my gosh, this is so good. And it's like when he reached a certain age, we'd watch stuff together, and that's where he really started getting just really into film, because I used it in ministry too as a youth pastor. Mm-hmm. I didn't know back in the day, youth pastors did everything. They did kind of like concerts, music, videos, things like that, but there was never a creative artist position or a tech director in a church until they were bigger churches that used the screens and did sermon illustrations and things like that. So I guess my first calling was, I love to do that stuff. You're talking about music and film. So I just wanted to, get the message out there in a creative way. So I used my drama background, love of music, video. I remember getting my first VHS video camera, got it at a garage sale. It was one of those oldies, but, just borrowing people's things and doing some editing and things like that. So he saw me doing that, and I got a lot of skits and funny things we did as a family. We still talk about. So, yeah. So back to the three favorite movies.
Yeah. I can just imagine people watching this episode and said, Drew never said.
There are ones that do stick out. I love, like Rear Window, with Hitchcock stuff. These classic ones.
Yeah.
I just love that stuff. I'm an old school. I love the old cinema. Citizen Kane. Really good movies like that. So yeah, the stuff today, everybody's into, the Supermans and the Marvels and stuff. It's okay, but it doesn't really land with me. But the oldies I like.
Yeah, to share this with you. My wife and we lived just a little south of Pittsburgh. And there for a while, we would go up and work as extras in movies. And
Oh, wow.
they cast my wife as one of the nuns in the Batman, whatever it was that they did in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
And so, she's going to be a nun in the Batman movie. And they called her up and said, okay, we're going to start shooting this week. You need to come up Sunday for a fitting. And she said, oh, well, I go to church on Sunday. I said, no, you need to come up and get a fitting. She says, no, I'm going to church. So, and when some people, when we tell that story, they said, are you kidding me? You gave up a chance to be in the Batman movie?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I got a similar thing, actually. When we lived on the Outer Banks, North Carolina, back to the music thing, we really loved Mylon Lefevre and Broken Heart. He passed away recently, but we got to meet him, and they did a concert there and all that, the whole thing. But we loved his concerts because he'd stop the music, because he was in a lot of secular groups, and then he'd preach. We just really liked that. So one of his albums was Crack the Sky, and one of the songs is Love God Hates Sin. And of course, got the concert t-shirts, and I got one of those, and it was the album on the front, and on the back, big bold letters, Love God Hates Sin.
Yeah.
So I had that shirt, and we're like groupies. We'd go to concerts and woo, and this is before you got kids. So we're all excited about that. But anyway, the Andy Griffith show, not Andy, Matlock, Andy Griffith was doing, he's from that area, Manteo. And he grew up, and that's what that show, the Andy Griffith show, was about, him, North Carolina. So he came back on a Matlock episode. I think it was one of the last ones. And Fred Thompson was on that show with him, and they needed extras. So I was like, yeah, I'm going to go. So they did this whole scene. It was in a restaurant and everything. I came, and, I was like, you know what? I want to be a witness. So I wore that concert shirt.
Yeah.
And, and I'm in, their position, the cameras and everything. And I know they saw that Love God Hates Sin. So it's like, you could see my arm and my shoulder. I'm at, but they never put that on. Put that on there.
I can imagine.
It wasn't on a Sunday either. It was like a weekday or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. It's like that. It's kind of, if you make a stand, your core values, you just gotta stick with it.
Yeah.
So,
well, you have to decide what's more important here.
Yeah.
So I didn't have that choice to make. Of course, they didn't. I wasn't in the Batman movie, but my wife was, or
she
could
was.
have been. Came close.
Yeah.
So, your 3 favorite movies. Did we get an answer to that?
We get an answer to that.
Well, we don't actually need one. But,
need one. I was telling you about the classics, a lot of the Hitchcock ones, and Citizen Kane. Everyone likes Gone with the Wind and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
I lean more towards some of the thriller type things. Actually, that's kind of the genre in my writing, with a little splash of sci-fi. So I'm a big Star Trek original guy, the original series, Star Trek movies. So I'll just say all there's 5 or 6 the original ones, but just Star Trek movies. I'll just say that. But
that'll do. That'll work for us. So, if you don't mind, would you tell us about your walk with Christ?
Sure. I've always felt the presence of the Lord, like, as long as I can remember, like, knowing there was a God. And I was raised in going to church. My family, I would just say, I'll be real kind, I'll say leans libertarian as far as their political stances, and kind of that way spiritually too. My father passed away about 5 years ago, so my mom, she's recently got right back into church. She's attending a church now regularly and is intrigued to read the Bible and everything. And she just turned 90.
Oh, congratulations to your mom.
Yeah. She's a fireball. So
I can imagine. You have to be.
Yeah. So from an early age, I've always knew there was a creator, there was a God. And it was probably Sunday school, then all through my life, many denominations. I mean, we're talking Presbyterian, Methodist, Baptist, Evangelical Free Church, Independent, Charismatic, Pentecostal, just everything you can think of. But I can remember at an early age knowing, hearing basic songs. One favorite song, Jesus Loves Me.
Yeah.
And just knowing that, and that foundation had to come somewhere. And my grandmothers were both devout Christians, and I know they had to have been praying for me, because my wife and I were talking about this yesterday. It was like my brother, my sister, and a lot of family members are just not, to me, you don't hear their profession of their faith. And I'm not saying they aren't, they're just kind of...
their fruits aren't real visible.
Yeah, and I was always curious why, and been teased and ridiculed at family gatherings and things like that, or one-on-one conversations. And it was like, I get it. The persecution comes that way verbally. And, but at an early age, I always thought that. And I remember one time my family was away and they went shopping or something. I got home from school. They were out someplace, and they did not come back. And I was home from like 3:30 when school got out, and I was probably maybe 8 or 9, home by myself. My dad was a salesman. He was away. So my mom and my sister and brother were away, and they did not get back until like 9 at night. Yeah. So 6 hours, a little kid by himself in the early 70s, which is like, pretty scary. And I remember taking a Bible I found, and I didn't know, where to look or whatever. I was holding that thing and I was praying, "Dear Jesus, let them be safe," and everything, and I was praying, crying.
Yeah.
It was like I was going to be alone.
Your imagination was taking over.
Yeah. And that was probably one of my memories of like answered prayer or that connection, that when I saw headlights coming in the driveway and they said, and I was crying and everything, "But what's the matter? We told you we were ran late," and all that. Well, I didn't know, so I just tucked that in my heart that, God was there carrying me through that. And through the next few years, I made a public profession of my faith with a youth group. I'm a triple dipper, got baptized 3 times.
One of them's bound to take.
Yeah. And so I do remember a lot of answered prayer on things, some really neat things that happened, and everything from losing something to find it, and then healing, and had my hand shut in a car door when we were skipping school in high school, and this lady grabbed it, ran it underwater. It was a next door neighbor. We were picking up a friend, and she was praying, and I was just standing there. And I knew my hand hurt, and then she takes her hand away in the water, and there was nothing there. It was fine. Things like that. And he's always shown up in a big way. So anyway, I just progressed on, and I never had like one defining moment, like this was the day, you know, just through the years got stronger and stronger. And actually, when I met my wife, she was in a Catholic, raised Catholic, but she was not born again, because I know there are born again Catholics. And she was like, wow, what is this? And I shared Jesus with her, and, you know, I wasn't living the full walk. I think we all fall short all the time, but I wasn't living the way I knew I should be living. In college. That's where I met her. And she's like, okay, you say you're this and this, but you're not doing it. She's the one that, like, you know, called me on the carpet. And she did the 180, you know. She really started serving the Lord and really encouraged me to walk that way. So together, you know, we were engaged to marry, and then we got married, and she actually lived with our pastor's family at the time when we were engaged, because at that time we lived in New Jersey. She was in South Jersey. I was in North Jersey. She's a Jersey girl. And I'll say no more, right? But she's, when she gets back with her friends, she gets into the accent and all that. It's pretty funny. But when she's away from them, she's, you know, she doesn't have that accent. But anyway, we encouraged each other and grew. And then one day, she's actually the one that said, when we were in North Carolina, we were in New Jersey, and before we moved to North Carolina, she said, okay, you know, why don't we just, you say you want to do this, you love the Lord and everything, why don't we just get into ministry? Let's just do it, you know? So we did, and we moved to North Carolina, packed everything up on a 59 Ford pickup truck, had side walls of paneling, packed everything we had there on that truck, and I spray painted on the side, we're going to North Carolina. Instead of U-Haul, I said U-All. And we drove there, and it was a puppet ministry. It was like a dramatic puppets for children's ministry and everything. We got there, the investors pulled out, and the whole thing fell through.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I was like, okay. And instead of, you know, being humble and going, all right, let's turn around and move back, you know, it's like, we're going to make this work. So I started working for an electrician at $4.25 an hour. And my wife was pregnant. And she was home. We were just in different people's houses and renting rooms, and it's just crazy. And that's where I got electrical background, and eventually became an electrical contractor. And then was doing that. And then my wife, same thing. It's like, you know, you're surviving all that. And she's thinking about ministry, and she says, okay, let's just take the plunge. And we went out to Tulsa and got into Bible school out there for youth and children's. And she's always been like the, you know, obviously Jesus is the rock, but she's been right there with me. She's kind of like the voice of reason, you know. She's saying, you're doing this, you're doing it, you want to do this, this is your passion. And she loves to sing. She's on the worship team and stuff. She's just, you know, ministry minded. She's like, instead of doing this, let's do this. And then when you have your low point, she's like, I never should have told you we should do this, you know. Well, but it's just life. It's the way it is.
Yeah, it is.
I couldn't think of doing anything other than this, but
well, I think you're very fortunate to have a wife that's that brave and bold and willing to trust God. Let's just pack up and move to Beverly Hills like the hill.
That's what it looked. That's what it looked like the first time.
Put Granny in a rocking chair on the top of the heap, and let's go.
So it's been an adventure. It's been really fun.
Certainly,
We've had a lot of laughs, a lot of tears, but yeah.
And when you look back, you say, you know, if we'd have seen the mountain we were trying to climb, we probably stayed in the lowland.
That's right. That's right.
But you don't, that's the great part about anything, is what you don't know isn't going to hold you back. But you got to take that first step and
Yes.
and do it. And that's what you and your wife has done, and that's I think a wonderful testimony.
Yeah. She's done the same thing with the writing. I know we haven't dove into that. She was the catalyst to do that. I mean, I have all these dreams. I think about things. I'm always telling her stuff. And, hey, wouldn't it be cool if we did this or that?
Yeah.
And that's basically what happened was we went on vacation. And it was actually our first vacation. And we're talking, this is 2019.
Oh.
Our first, because all the other vacations were, because we lived so many different places, we're driving to see family.
Exactly.
And we never just did a vacation for us. And we were encouraged to do that. Our pastors went, hey, you guys need to take a vacation for yourselves.
Yeah, go someplace where you don't know anybody.
Yeah. So we did that. And it was actually, I was on the beach and just laying there looking out at the ocean. And she was next to me. I'm laying on the beach, and we vacationed in New Smyrna Beach. Mm-hmm. It's known as the shark bite capital of the world. Of course, we picked that place, right? It was recommended to us because there wasn't a lot of people there, and I think prior conversation, like you said, there's no wonder there's nobody there because they don't want to get bit by sharks. But the beach is beautiful. And anyway, I see this. I see a fin come out of the water, and I'm like, wow. And
so you're on the beach, and you see a fin come out of the water, and you're thinking Castle Reef already.
Yeah, I started creating this world. I'm just laying there with my eyes shut, and I open my eyes, and she's just sitting there with her floppy hat on in the chair. I go, hey, hon. I said, I got this idea. And I start telling a little bit about it. And she says, you always get these ideas. Instead of just talking about it, why don't you just do it?
Just do it, yeah.
just do it. Go ahead and do it. You know what I mean? And I didn't even think of it. So she challenged me, and she kept on. Got home and wrote a bunch of notes down that really didn't think about it. I tossed the idea off my son and daughter-in-law, and they said, that would be great. That'd be great if you wrote a book. Because I'm going, wow, this would be a great movie, a novel. First, you have to get a novel, and you know. And so it was only supposed to be one book, but there was so much into it that I had to do it in 3 to finish that part of the story.
Goodness, yeah.
And it just keeps building, and it writes itself. You know what I mean? As soon as you get going, it's like, oh wow, this is fun. So, yeah.
A lot of the authors I talk to, myself included, we say that we're often surprised because we're just riding along, and all of a sudden our character makes a left-hand turn without using his turn signals. We say, what?
Yeah.
And there we go, off on some tangent that we never suspected. And it's what an amazing, blessed instance. It takes you places that you wouldn't have thought of. So I have to think it's divine intervention.
Yeah.
It's leading you down a path.
Yes. And I always want to do it with a purpose, you know.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things. There's a lot of hidden Easter eggs in these books, and there's a lot of issues I address. But the core message has got to be Jesus, you know.
Yeah.
And I don't want to put that out into people. And never make people feel uncomfortable. Yes, it is uncomfortable. It's awkward, and you got to be real. But when, especially writing, you just don't want to hammer them right when they're all the time, you know. Just kind of draw them into a world or a situation that they've been in, or people that they can identify with, and then bring that scripture, that truth, biblical principle to life, you know. So,
well, for some people, they'll be reading life as it happens, and they'll say, "Oh yeah, okay, here's Jesus. I know Jesus," and other people say, "What? You know, that's, you know," but it works.
Yeah.
Some people will, it'll be fertile ground, and other people stony path.
Yeah.
Some people it just gets trod on, and so that's what sparked you, huh? The recurrence.
That's what got it going. And I obviously give all credit to God, but my wife has been a big part of everything we do, as far as, you know, whether it's skits and drama or music and things like that. She's, you know, she won't say she is. She's very humble like that. She's like, oh no, and she, you know, second guess and this or that. But she's a very, and actually is a big part of the writing. I mean, I just throw it out there, and I'm writing stuff. And she works at a school. She teaches kids how to read, and like a reading recovery group, and she's really good at that. But she's also a very good editor.
Oh,
and
very helpful.
Oh yeah, she just like started. She's like, "This, you're writing in the wrong tense. What are you doing?" and she goes, "Oh, you know." And then she helped me get in that groove, and and she'll read stuff, and how we do this, and it's really hard because a lot of people wouldn't do it this way, but I want that second set of eyes. That as I write, I would finish like almost near the end and let her start the novel, and I wouldn't be giving it to her, you know, a chapter or second time. I'd wait because I want her with fresh eyes to not only pick out the spelling errors and grammar and things like that, but the story. Yeah. And she would go, "Wait a minute, this, you contradicted yourself." And I said, "Well, you're right, I did, but I didn't mean to." And she would help that way. But she enjoyed the story too, going up, and she would say, "Yeah, this is great. Oh my gosh, I didn't," you know, rather than sitting there just, "No, you spelled that word wrong. Go back to the drawing board." She made it fun. So we worked together.
Yeah, I think it's interesting how you always had that ability. You kind of doubted it. You had to have your wife convince you. You shared it with your children. They said, "Yeah, Dad. Yeah, go for it. What are you thinking? Is this good?"
I never, you know, I was an English major. I never thought I was going to write. Never
and you were afraid to admit you had the skill and talent to do it.
Yeah, I guess. So
well,
we'll see.
You needed the encouragement and people around you that God brought into your life that will do that.
Yeah.
So I just think it's so a Christian fiction author, just how it occurs, how it continues.
Yeah.
So is there a biblical truth that anchors your books?
Well, the Castle Reef series is, I wanted to keep it basic, and some of the characters and the devices in the story are the underlying message. There is John 3:16 in Castle Reef. Yeah. For me, at an early age, it's always been Proverbs. You know, trust in the Lord, all your heart, and all your ways, acknowledge Him, and it's like, okay, in all your ways, that means every part of your life. It's hard to do, you know. You yield that, and you know, He's going to direct our paths. And right now, we're even like, okay, at my age, I'm 18, but it's like, okay, in reality, I always want to make sure I'm in step with where He's directing me. Yeah. And, you know, there's desires, like I told you with the novels. Man, I'd love to see those as movies or a television series. Lives. It's not about like, oh, to be famous or that. I just want to see that completed to reach people. So that's kind of what we're praying. That works. There's some connections that I have, but I'm not. I don't go out and like, you know, the whole marketing and the whole spend tons of money just like, I want to be known, you know.
Yeah.
I want him to be known. And I want the best path he can direct us in for that to happen. And I know my son has interest in it, but at the same time, it's like, okay, where are you going to get the money, Noah?
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
So it's a trust thing, and we've always been that way. But it ends just writing, and somebody's life is changed. You know, hey, I'm good. You know, I don't like looking there and getting all upset about things like that. It's the Lord who promotes. Yeah. It's His project. We surrender our lives to Him. Me where you want me. You know, that's how we look at it.
Well, I think we're, as authors, we're sensitive about earning money for work.
Yeah.
And we feel, well, sometimes we question ourselves, because if I was to sell 10 books a day, that would be, you know, and you absentmindedly go through some
scenarios.
And then you put guilt on yourself. Well, I really don't care about the money. I mean, maybe that's the way. But the way I look at it is, the books I write is kind of like a joy.
Sure.
And joy is not complete until it's shared with someone.
That's awesome.
So I have books. I want to share them. I want as many people to read them as possible. To make money, I think it's because I want to share my joy. Let me write this. And it's not just me. It's the Holy Spirit has directed some things, because when I go back that I wrote 2 years ago, it's like I forgot a few things, and I think, oh, I put that. Well, I didn't put that in there.
Yeah, he did.
But I think that's kind of unique. So, yeah, we absentmindedly go through the mechanics. If I $3,000 on this, I could certainly buy a new thing to help me make more creative things. And it's really it's the joy we're wanting to spread.
Yeah.
So that's this episode, I guess.
No, I agree. One step that is just finished ago. The third audiobook is now finished, and it's being uploaded to the platforms, Spotify, Audible, and the new In Audio. I guess they bought out whatever.
Yeah, Find Away Voices.
So that's like, and the great voice actress, I had a female, because a lot of the main characters, which is odd for female main characters, but she did a great job. She did all the parts. She did her use her one voice with different inflections. She did character voices, and just super job. Her name is Cassie Sykes. First project as a voice actor.
Yeah.
Done drama and things like that, but it's one step nearer to drama thing, and it's kind of neat that you got the print, you got the audio, you know, it's like, oh, I want to do it, but you're right, it's like, let the lead how he is putting it into, whether they're driving and they're listening to this, or, you know, they're identifying with different characters and think, wow, you know, but and you got to keep that first, because man, it is so easy to go, I got to get marketing. You know, that whole, you probably the same way. You get inundated with people and emails and Facebook messages, and I can't even, from all over the place. And they're like, we will help you with your, and it's like, no. So,
and when I was well, maybe I do need to do more marketing. People would say, well, this book is a New York bestseller list because.
Yeah.
So I'll look at the book. Yeah, okay, it was a New York bestseller list, and I find the author. Oh, I look around. There's an email I can. And so I contacted him. Said, "Did this company really help you get on the New York bestsellers list?" I never heard of that. There's scammers out there.
Oh, yeah.
Almost everybody that contacts is a scammer.
Yeah. Here's
I was concerned that when I send you people, fiction authors, my notes, I'm looking for guests. I think the first thing you're going to think of is you're going to try to soak me for, because I sound like a scammer.
Yeah.
But yeah, everybody knows I don't charge guests, and me.
Yeah.
We're praising the Lord. Go Jesus.
Go. I real quick, the local bookstore signing are downtown in Tahlequah, and the manager of the bookstore, the books, kind of a neat name and has a neat logo. She said she went to like these book ones and things like that, and she met this top New York Times best author, a lady, and she said, I probably wouldn't know her, but anyway, she said that all her boys, she doesn't make any money. I guess she's married or whatever. That's not her income. Go to all the marketing and all the publicity and everything. She walks away with nothing. Facade, like this is, in the world, you got to have, and you got to reach here, and but author she doesn't make. She's dumping it all in to survive. Up, and I thought that was really telling. So
yeah, that's not my kind of joy.
No, they're still busy worrying about all that. We're not writing, and we're not being led on what to write and how we do our craft. Yeah, you just got to kind of take it in consideration.
Yeah. So on here, many of our listeners are looking for books. Boys, men, and families with that audience.
I think so. There's actually my grandson, my oldest grandson, he's a teen now. He's moving into that adolescence age, and his mother let him listen to it on audio. Themes in there, but I don't go easy with the language and stuff. I just don't. Through life, I hear people use foul language. Reality, that's a very slim margin, and I don't know. Has to feel they have to just interject all that, and I mean, I know others that think, I want to make it more realistic. The story, but it's family friendly. I put, when I do audio, ask age, I say 18 on up, because there's children and stuff in it, but and different people groups too. It's intense, but it's also felt. It's not like these, cold. There's a family feel in there too. I think if you're doing the motion picture, I would say the elements of what happens, but for explicit.
Right. Well, I did a brief some of the reviews for great suspense thriller with important themes of faith, redemption. I like clue what would unfold. I had no clue what would unfold, but that's a sign of a pretty good. It sounds like from artificial intelligence, the most sophisticated modern, to the most or a shark attack, that you've got into your book, and go and look at it, try to find it, and like to draw people's attention. So where can people find your book?
It's available, they say, through my books. Did it? I've researched a bunch of publishers, and gosh, that's another rabbit hole. But they've been pretty good. It's available at all book to order, but primarily Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Walmart, those platforms, and of course the audio book platforms. So
do you have an email presence?
Yes, I have a website. It's andrewbsam.com, and my email is the same, andrewbsam.
Okay, great. It's really been a joy. Since it's a joy, I'm going to share it with everyone I can. We'll that in there. Do you mind if we pray to kind of close out this interview?
Yes, sir.
Our Heavenly Father, we just stand in awe that you do provide gifts, and we just thank you for Drew. The gifts that you've given him, one being an imagination, that down on paper to share with other people. You strengthen him. Be with his editor. May she always stand by his side, and we just thank you for this grace, and forgives us for go with us throughout this period of our life. Amen.
Amen.
That was my conversation with Andrew P., author, creative pastor, and redemption. Eve enjoyed getting to know him as much. You can find Andrew's books on Amazon retailers, or visit him online at andrewbsam. If this episode blessed, like, subscribe, and share it with someone who loves the faith. Until next time, and keep reading clean. This is my out.